authentication, it might seem very, on the surface, very straightforward, simple, like some light aspect. But apparently, it is a very quite deep area, and it is undergoing a major development. So the way we authenticate to systems will be really changing us in the near future. And that's why it is exciting to really be familiar with what's new. I tried my best to kind of convey this to you in this discussion, but I am also hoping that the team working on this aspect, two-factor authentication, to complete where I stopped at, and dig deeper into the future authentication. I will be discussing with them offline, giving them some guidelines how to enrich what we are already discussing here. So authentication, just to summarize quickly, it's all about validating identity of the users and establishing their identity, and it's prerequisite for authorization. Before we can measure authorization, we need to know who the user is and what is their role. Now, to do this traditionally, it was mainly password-based. And as we discussed in the last session, password-based authentication is very vulnerable because people choose a weak and easy to guess password. They reuse them in many services. They can be vulnerable to keyloggers and also to phishing attacks. And we discussed all of this. And then we came to the conclusion that to improve the situation, like services are now implementing two-factor authentication. And we start looking at that in two-factor authentication, you have to combine between these three factors: something that the user knows, such as password or PIN, something that the user has, such as a phone or a card or some kind of USB security key, or something that the user is, like such as fingerprints or iris scan. So then we stopped at, in practice, what is used in two-factor authentication in practice. So in practice, this is what is used in practice. So five factors are used in practice. This is what made me late. This is basically the future. This is the future of authentication, and this is where the team working on this should focus on. Web Authentication API, brand new API that will really change the way forward with authentication. Very exciting. So let me show you the state of the practice now and what will be coming next. This is already available as beta in many platforms such as Chrome, and the team working on this will show us some a live demo of this. Okay, so let's start with the simple one, SMS. We all know this experience of two-factor authentication. It's very simple. You log in using your username and password, and then the service will send you a PIN in your to your phone number as an SMS message, and then you come back to the service and you type in the PIN, and they allow you to get in. Any of us that has a bank account, they have experienced this. All banking institutions in Qatar implement this two-factor authentication, password and SMS. The other two-factor authentication that is widely used is also time-based one-time passwords. Time-based one-time passwords, push notifications, universal two-second factor. I will explain what all this means. And the latest way of doing things that will hopefully replace all of this is the Web Authentication API. Okay, so let's start with the SMS. This is very simple. We're all familiar with it. You log in, then in this scenario, your bank will send you an SMS through your service provider, your telecom service provider. You get the SMS, you type it in, and the system will let you in. Now, the time-based one-time password, The way it works, there are, from now on, you will see two flows. There are two flows defined by this two-factor authentication. There is a registration flow. You do it at the time you create an account. And there is the authentication flow, whenever you come back to visit the service. So in the registration flow, some services like Facebook, Twitter, Google, they have this facility. So what you do is, in the registration flow, you say, I want to go for two-factor authentication. So what the service does, it gives you a picture that has QR code. This QR code is just a secret code. It displays it to you. You use your phone and you take a photo of that QR code. That QR code is nothing but a secret key. Remember symmetric cryptography, we have a key on both sides. So now the service provider has the shared key and you also have the shared key. It's just, instead of typing it, for normal users, it's hard to type it. So you can take a photo of it as a QR code. Now you use some kind of app on your mobile. One of these apps could be Google Authenticator, free app. And then basically what you do whenever you want to log into this website, you log in, they ask you for username and password, and then they ask you for a time-based one-time password. So from where do you get this one-time password? They won't send you any SMS or anything. You bring your app, and then basically it will give you a number. So this number is a one-time password, and the way this number is computed, it is very simple. It is HMAC SHA-1. We have seen this. This is like a message authentication code generated based on the shared secret plus the current time. So you concatenate the shared secret that you had at the time of registration, concatenate it with the current time, you hash it using SHA-1. And then you send this. Sorry, when you do this, this little app you see there, this little app here, will generate this number. And then you go ahead and type it, and then the server side will do the same. The server side has the secret key that is associated with your account. It takes the current time, it knows the current time, it concatenates both, and then hash them using HMAC SHA-1, and if it match, they will let you in, otherwise authentication will fail. This is time-based one-time password, very simple mechanism. They're kind of similar to SMS, but we don't have SMS here. Because in many cases, many of us, we don't want to share our phone number with other services. Sometimes get abused, sometimes just for marketing, we get these annoying messages. We don't want to share our phone number. So here is a mechanism to do two-factor authentication without using SMS, without using your phone number. And this can work with tablets, can work with other, you don't need a phone. So let's move on. There are many apps that can help you do this. The most famous is Google Authenticator. There is free OTP, Guardian, Duo Mobile, many apps that will allow you to do this. I hope it's clear. Okay. The other mechanism that you can use for authentication is push authentication prompt. So when you log into some service, that service will send you a push notification to your mobile. You get a notification, you basically attend to it and say yes or no. So like they will not let you go ahead with your successful authentication until you say yes. If you say no, of course the authentication will fail. So this is a two-factor authentication. There is something you know, which is the password, and something you have, which is your phone, and you respond to this prompt. We have experienced this at a certain stage with Google. So this is how it works. You log in. The service will send you a push notification, and then basically either you accept it or you reject it. And all of this is secure using HTTPS. this conversation between the service and the client. There are many, of course, Google has its own way of doing it for their own services. If you want to implement it for your own service, there are many solutions out there, such as Duo, OT, and these are commercial solutions if you are attracted to this way of doing it. Okay, moving on, there is another way of doing two-factor authentication in real life using what is known as U2F, Universal Second Factor. So in here, sorry, I'm opening so many things. If I go to Amazon, I'll just show you here. If I do here U2F, you go ahead and buy one of these USB devices. Like let's say something like this. This is a quite popular one, Ubico. It's a little key, looks like a USB key, and it has a little button here. So what you do is, there are, again, to use such technology, you have two phases, always two phases. There is a registration phase at the time of account creation, and there is authentication phase. And accordingly, there is a registration flow and authentication flow. So in here, what happens is, when you register in Facebook, or even if you already have, I'm just giving here Facebook as an example. It could be any service. When you register, or later on, you could enable this two-factor authentication. You say, or you go to the service and say, oh, I want to do two-factor authentication. Password is no longer enough for me. I want to secure my account. So what they will do, okay, they will say, no problem. You click, say, I want to do two-factor authentication using U2F. I just received my USB from Amazon. So they will ask you, put your key and press the button. That's all. Press the button. When you press the button, what happens is, this key has public key cryptography. The public key cryptography we have discussed. So what the key will do, it will generate a private and public key. It will generate two keys. So for each service, let's say you use it with Facebook, with Google, with GitHub, for each service, it will have an associated public key and private key. So it generates these two. It keeps them, of course, in this USB stick. And what it does, it sends the public key to the service. So the Google will have your account details, your password, plus your public key. Where is the private key? It's with you on the little stick. You put it with your keys and keep it. Okay, when you come back for authentication, what do you think? How this will work? When you come back for authentication, what will be the flow? Any idea? Still sleeping? Okay, the flow will be very simple. Here it is. So the service, after you log in using your username and password, the service will ask you, put your USB key, you put it and press the button. What happens is the service will send you a challenge. A challenge is nothing but a random message, a random text. And then this challenge, this is just a term in security, we call it a challenge. The service is challenging you to prove who you are. So it gives you a message, and then what you do with this message, what this little USB will do, will take that message and sign it. You sign it using what? The private key, yeah? And then it sends it off to the service. The service will verify the signature. If the signature is valid, it allows you in, otherwise you are not who you claim to be. So it's using public key cryptography to do authentication. And this is very powerful, unbreakable. All these guys are breakable. All this, SMS, one-time password, all these are breakable by these guys. You see here? They keep phishing. Fake, they sit there in the middle as a fake service. They ask you, please come and log in. We need to increase for you your disk quota, or you want to give you a gift, or whatever they want to do, and they will ask you log in. And maybe instead of google.com, they say G00GLE.com. You are not paying attention. and you are tricked. You put your password, say, oh, by the way, please give us your SMS that we just sent you. No problem, you put it, and basically it's all fake. Okay? So it's, yes?
In that case, how come some websites can actually like identify or detect that there is a phishing?
There is no way. You have to be careful.
No, but I mean, like, let's say Facebook, it can actually detect if you send a phishing website. Some websites can actually do that. Do you know? Like, let's say if you send like an invalid website to someone else for the purpose of phishing, they would be able to recognize that this is
a phishing website. Maybe they maintain a blacklist, maybe blacklist of such websites, because this website they haven't done it only for you, maybe for many other of their customers. So they might know the sources, or there might be some shared service out there where people kind of report these phishers, and maybe there could be a blacklist. So, but otherwise, it's quite hard. Yeah. So anyway, these are still vulnerable. What I want to say, all these guys are still vulnerable to phishing attacks, but this one is no way to be broken. What is the only way to break this U2F authentication mechanism? What is the only way to do it? Is to have the physical USB key. That's the only way. Okay? No way to break it, except if someone stole your USB key. Even if they do that, will they get to your account immediately? Remember, it's two-factor authentication. They need your password. Okay? So they need to somehow get your password and your key, which is very hard. Okay? All right. So all of this is nothing compared to the new web API, web authentication. Okay, this is brand new. I just discovered it. I just heard of it this week and discovered it today. Okay, so this builds on the UTF, and move it to the next level. And here, you can remove passwords completely. Throw away passwords, no more passwords. And this is the future. So in here, you see here, it's two-factor authentication. It could be either your USB, your UTC, but instead of having a button, it might have a fingerprint. Or you can even throw that and use your mobile phone as the authenticator. So what you have a local authenticator, and you have a server-side authenticator. So the local authenticator, let's say your mobile phone. So the mobile phone knows your fingerprint, and also you have evidence. Since you have the mobile phone yourself, it is you basically. And even if it's somebody stole your mobile phone, they will not store your fingerprint. So you have to have both to authenticate. So in here, these two, your mobile and your fingerprint, like there will be an app authenticator on the client that generates a public-private key. So you will have public and private key. So on the client authenticator, it will keep this public and private key, and it will share the public key with the server-side authenticator. It will share your public key with the authenticator. And then basically the same way as UTF, exactly the same way, the server will send you a challenge, which is a message. And what you do with this challenge, you use the local authenticator to prove who you are by, let's say, doing a fingerprint. And then the local authenticator will take the challenge and encrypt and sign it using the private key and send it off to the server side. And the server side will verify the signature. So notice here, we are not sending our fingerprint to the server side because it has a privacy. Plus, if you have fingerprints for Google, it has billions of accounts. On Facebook, you have billions of accounts. So to do matching between fingerprints with billion accounts, it will take a long time. It's not something easy to do. But in here, we don't do that. Like the verification of fingerprints will be done at the client side using the local authenticator. And then the local authenticator will use the public key associated with the service you are trying to access. It will use the private public key cryptography to do the authentication. So again, this is very quick. I'm hoping the team working on this will give us more details. This is just 2 minutes what I could find. So again, there is a registration flow and there is authentication flow. Registration flow, don't worry about these details. I didn't have time to go through the details. But just to summarize it very super quickly, when you register, basically what you do is at the time of registration, your local authenticator, remember in this model you have 2 authenticators, one on the client and one on the server. On one on the client, it will ask you, it will generate public key and private key, yes? And it will keep it on the client authenticator. And then it takes the public key and shares it with the server authenticator, yes? Now, at the time of this is the registration flow. The authentication flow, when you come to a service, it will no longer ask you for password. No longer ask you for password. You just basically, once you come to the service, it will send you a challenge. What is a challenge? Random text. Random text. What you do with the challenge? What the client-side authenticator will do with the challenge? It will first ask you to do your fingerprint, either on your mobile that you have or this universal key that you have. So in here, you basically do two-factor authentication. What is the first factor? Either your mobile you have or the universal key that you have. What is the second factor? Your biometric. And then what the local authenticator will do, it knows who you are, the local authenticator. It has evidence that you are who you claim to be. And then how does it give assurance to the server side? It will take the challenge, which is a text, and then sign it using the private key associated with this service. And then it will send the signed message, the signed challenge, to the server-side authenticator. And what the server-side authenticator will do? It will verify the signature. If the signature is valid, it will let you, this authentication will be successful. Otherwise, it will fail. So it is very, very similar, the two-factor, the universal two-factor, but it takes it to the next level. In here, it eliminates password altogether, and it introduces 2 authenticators, one on the client, one on the server. And by the way, this will work already there. It's just people are trying to adopt this. It's already there in Chrome, already there on Android. It will be built in browsers. This new system, this new model, Web Authentication API, it will be built in on all browsers, and it will be built in on all platforms. And no longer we need passwords. We just use fingerprints and public key cryptography to do this. You can also, instead of fingerprints, you can also use like a photo, like image authentication. It can take an image or eye scan to replace the fingerprint. But fingerprint is becoming ubiquitous, although I never use it. I have it here in my laptop, in my phone. But that's the idea. Is it clear? Roughly. I know it is a lot to take in, but hopefully through a demo that the team will prepare, this will become much clearer. But the overall idea, at least the overall idea, is it? You got it? Okay. So we are done with now 2 topics. This is our topic list. This is the password-based authentication. We're trying to run away from it because of its vulnerabilities. We move into 2-factor authentication. We've seen what are the mechanisms done in practice. Okay, this is one side of authentication. There are other problems with authentication beyond having 2-factor. The other problem is that we use so many services. Let's say in QU we use, like, say, Banner, Blackboard. Maybe for us as faculty we use HR, finance system, and so on. Every time we use some system, we have to authenticate. It's annoying. We wish we authenticate one place, and then we can go and visit other services without asking us again to authenticate. So this is a real problem, and there are solutions for this, many solutions out there. But luckily, lately, they became more mature and much more simple and widely used. And this technology, or this area of authentication, it's called single sign-on. Single sign-on. What do we mean by single sign-on? I log in once, I get a token, and then I use this token to visit other services without these services annoying me who you are. Yes? Let me give you the analogy. The analogy is when you go to, let's say, to a hotel, as an example, like, you authenticate once. So you go to this check-in desk, they will see your passport, your booking, maybe they take a copy of your passport, and then what? If everything goes okay, what you will get? An access card, yes? And this access card will give you access to many services, to your room, maybe to a gym, maybe to some other place, other services provided by the hotel. Well, when you go to your room, will they ask you, the security there, or somebody will ask you who you are, what are you doing here, or show me your passport? Will somebody ask you? No, because you authenticated once. What is your evidence that you are authenticated? Your card. Yeah, that's basically the idea. So you authenticate once. Once you authenticate, what do you get at your hand? A token. This token has who you are and what you can do. And then whenever you want to access other services, what do you need to do? Show your token. That's it. That's basically the idea. So let me show you this in a concrete way how it works. Okay. Here it is. So, so what we do, as I just explained, I log in. What do I get after I log in? I get a token. So this token, there is a common way, or a widely used format of this token. It's called JWT token. Now, it's easier to just show you this in a demo. Very, very simple. Okay, so hopefully this will work. Okay, this is stolen from the web development course. All right. So let me see what we have here. All right, here it is. Okay, so let me log out. Let me put the inspector here. Go to my console, clear this. Here is I'm trying to log in here. Username, admin, secret. This is even much easier. I'm giving you the username and password. Okay, you log in. You want to log in. Okay, I will log in here. What do you think? After I log in, what should I get at my hand? A token. What is the format of this token used on the web? JWT, JSON Web Token. JSON Web Token. Okay, here it is. Log in. Here is my token. Oh, scary little number here, little text there. Okay. Now, this doesn't scare me. I will copy it here. Go to this little utility here, JWT debugger. Can you see it here? Just for you to understand what's going on. This one is just a base 64 encoded string. But in reality, what is it? It is a string. It is a JSON. Those of you, this is what JSON is. It's just a name, colon, value, name, colon, value. You see this JSON, what it says, this token came from a local provider. Your role is admin. I am admin in this role. And this is my identifier. This is my unique ID as a user. This is my name. This is my given name, family name. This is my email. This is my issued at. You see here issued at, and this is the expiry. And more importantly, this is what? There is a signature associated with this. So when the server generated this token, what the server did? Cryptography, following us everywhere. Why did we sign this? Why the server signed this token? Yeah. So what is the? Why do we use signatures? This is fundamental. You should just answer like this. What do we use signatures for? Yes, yes, yes. No, no, no. Okay. We use signatures to prevent tampering, to prevent that somebody changed the message. If somebody changed the message, will we be able to detect it? Yes. So for example, let's imagine here the role was student, and I want to change it to admin or faculty. I can change it here in my message, no problem. But when I send this token back to the server or give it to some other service, what the service will first do? Verify the signature. If the signature is not correct, if you have changed, the signature will be different. Because how do you generate the signature? Very good. You hash it and then you encrypt it with the key. So you hash it and you encrypt it with the key. So the idea here, the server side, the services you want to use the token with, they have the secret key. So whenever they receive the token, the first thing they will do, they take the token text, this part, they will hash it, and then encrypt it with the secret, okay? And then basically, if you have changed it, of course, the signature will be wrong. And then they will know that this one is a fake token, and they will not let you in. And here, you see the header here, it just says this token, the type of this token is JWT. And what is the signature and encryption algorithm used to create the signature? Is HMAC SHA-256. Remember HMAC SHA-256? This is what is used to generate what? To generate this signature. So basically, a token is a super simple string. It has three parts. This is the header, dot, the body. The body is details about you. We call these claims. These are called claims. In security, there are some terminology you need to be familiar with. Those are claims. What are the claims? Attributes, name values. It could be your name, email, could be your role, could be other things. And there is a signature. This is what makes it secure. Now you have this token. After authentication, you get this token. Now, if you want to get to get other services, let's say you are in Blackboard or Banner. Let's start with Banner. You are in Banner, you authenticate in Banner, and then the Banner will give you what? JWT token. Now you want to log into, let's say, Blackboard to get your courses. So what you will do when you go to Blackboard? Just give Blackboard your token. What Blackboard will do? Verify that the signature in the token, verify the token is valid, which means that it has not been changed. If it changes, if the user or somebody changes it, of course the service would know, right? It's changed. When it's verified, the signature verification will fail, because basically the user of the client side, they don't have the secret key. So they cannot generate the signature. That is clear? It's very simple. Token-based JWT authentication. Token-based authentication. You log in, you get a token. Token has some claims, and this token is signed. And then whenever you visit some other services, hand in your token, the server side will verify it. And then it will use the claims to do authorization. It will use the claims in the token to do the authorization. In here, it will know who I am, it will know what is my role, and it will go ahead and give me the privileges according to my role. For example, if it is Blackboard, I logged in Banner and went to Blackboard. Blackboard will know who I am. It will only give me my courses, not other people's courses, because from the token. Now, this is very, very scalable, by the way. Do the server side store these web tokens or these tokens? Do the server store the tokens? No. you visit any service, they don't have any idea about you or the tokens. The token was generated by somebody else, some other service. Even the service that generated the token does not store it. He gives it to you, and you keep this. You keep it because you are the one interested in using it. You keep it. Whenever you need it, when you visit other services, hand it over. And then the only thing the recipient will do will verify the signature and then use the claims in the token you provide to decide the authorization. Is it clear? I hope so. Okay, last challenge in authentication. Last challenge in authentication is delegated authentication. You know, authentication might seem simple, because you might say, okay, I just want to authenticate. I just create a username and password and a button and let the users sign in. But it's not easy. As you can see, there's a lot of details behind it. Even for password-based, you have to worry about somebody forgetting their passwords. You have to encourage the users to change their passwords. There's a lot of headache. So when we have a lot of headache, what is the best solution? Delegate. Give that headache to somebody else to worry about. So in this case, we take the authentication, we take it out from our system and throw it away to whom? Other authentication providers or identity, we call them identity providers, such as Google. Those are big guys. They have so many employees, so much money. Why should I worry about authentication? Give it to them to worry about. Yes? So what I'm doing here, delegating authentication and identity management to these providers. Google, Facebook, Twitter, GitHub, and others. Okay? Now what is the flow here? When somebody comes to my website and I want to know who they are, what I will do. What do you think?
Let them sign in with Google.
Very good. Let them sign in with Google or with Facebook, whatever they choose. Sometimes we give them a choice. We have seen this on the web. Then once you sign in, what happens? Yes, please. Very good. Thank you very much. You get a token. This token is called the ID token. And guess what? What this ID token will have? I want the technical word. What this ID token will have? Claims. Thank you very much. What are claims? Example of claims? Some attributes. Examples? ID, not the role. Unfortunately, here Google will not know the role in your application. It will give you the ID, maybe the email. That's it in the case. But if you want more, they will give you another token. It's called the access token, and you can ask for more. If you want the first name of the user, the last name, if you want the mobile number, no problem. You can ask and you get. But Google will ask the user to give you the permission to do so. Yes? It's clear? So basically, I delegate the authentication. The user will go to the authentication provider website, transparently, of course. You give them that experience. They will type in their username and password. What the authentication provider will give you back? Two things, two tokens. The first token is called the ID token. What this ID token has? Basic information. ID, maybe email, some basic information. If you want more, it can give you an ID, an access token. You go to another URL called the user endpoint URL, and you can ask for more. Yes? Let me show you this concretely, how it looks. Here is my app. Go back here. So I don't want to log in using my local login. I don't want to do this. It's too much headache to do my own authentication. Instead, I'm going to delegate this to Google. Sign in using Google. I click here. You see, it's taking me now to Google. You see here, it gives me a pop-up screen with Google. It's asking me, where is your account? Here's my account. It asks me, you see here, because I already have passwords stored and so on, Anyway, this is what I get from Google. Here's exactly what I get. What did I get? ID token. It looks scary, and this is just a base 64 encoded. This is just encoded string. When I decode it, this is what I get. It's quite a lot. I got, here's my email. I got email that is verified. This email verified, which means this is a true email. That, like Google sent me some verification code and I type in my mobile and I typed it in. So this email is verified. This is the expiry of this token, and there is when it was issued and by whom it was issued. And this is my identifier in Google. This is my unique identifier in Google. So this is basic information that they give me. They give you in this authentication, in this ID token. What else they give us? An access token. In case I need more details, I should go to another URL. We call it endpoint info URL. And basically, I hand over my access token. This access token, it is an evidence that the user gave you permission to go ahead and get more details about that. And then I go ahead and give this access token to permission denied, insufficient authentication scope. Anyway, something went wrong. Anyway, permission denied. Let me go back and give some more permission here. Let me clear this guy. The user have to give the consent for you to get more information about them from the authentication provider. Let me give it another go. Okay, it will ask me. All right, now have a look at this. So this is my ID token. This is all coming from Google. I don't need to worry about it. Sorry, this is the basic information coming with the ID token. Basic information. Now, if this is not enough for you, you take this access token and you can go ahead and access more information. You hand over this access token and it will give you all this stuff. Have a look. Email, family name, given name, everything, even the picture, roles, everything. ID, yes? It's amazing. So not only this, you can even give consent to access your contacts, access whatever. You just ask the user. So when you log in, you need to be careful. Sometimes the app will ask you for permission. You need to be careful. Okay. Of course, once you get that permission, this access token, usually it has some expiry. It is quite generous. I don't know how long it stays, but the provider can store it and go back and access more stuff from your profile. I hope it is clear. I will just wrap up here. I know there is a lot. I'm also surprised. I thought this is 3-4 slides and that's it. It ended up 10 slides, and this is just giving you the essence of the ideas. There is lots more details behind all of this. I'm giving you also the latest way of doing it. For people to come to this level, it took many, many years of development, research and development. Yeah? So here is just to summarize. This is summarizing delegated authentication. What happened when you are delegating authentication? So this is exactly what happened. This is the client. They click the button. Let's say in this case, login using Google. The browser will redirect to Google authentication URL, and it will ask Google, please, I want you to give me back an ID token and an access token. And this is what I want to access. I want to access the profile of the user, and I want to access their email. You say what you want. And then of course, before you can do all of this, you as developer, you have to register with Google, and you get for your app, you get an ID. So they need to know who is using this API. It's not like anybody can use it. You as developer, you need to register and get a client ID. So every application on the web using Google, they know what applications and organizations are using their services. Okay, so the user will get redirected to Google, they will sign in, and then this will return to them ID token and access token. By the way, all of this is standardized. What is the name of this standard? It's called an OpenID Connect. The same way, exactly the same experience, same technology that you use in Facebook, in Twitter, exactly the same, because it's a standard. Then if you want more info, you use the access token, you go to another endpoint called user info endpoint to get more information about the user. That's it. This is basically what delegated authentication means.